Good afternoon, everyone. We're in Church Square, and in what, in my opinion, is one of the most picturesque streets in England, or in the world, possibly. Apart from Mermaid Street, Mr. Stanley Allen. I'm sorry, I'm terrible for reading gravestones. I've never done a live of this churchyard. I may do one. We've got quite a lot to do, so we shall see. Funny enough, a lot of the people, or a few of the people that are buried in these graves, lived in these houses, and they buried them there for that reason, so they could face their homes. Which I think's rather charming, don't you? Oh dear, my stomach's making some strange, odd noises. I do hope everything will be alright. Anyone that's watched the Titanic, you know, the one with Leonardo DiCaprio in it and Kate Winslet, is it? Well, remember the noise the Titanic made just before it snapped in half. My stomach made a noise like that in Lamb House, so loud the person standing near me actually looked. St. Anthony. This is one of the oldest surviving buildings in Rye, and it's a real fine, purty thing, y'all. Real fine and purty. Oh, my leg's hurting. My stomach feels like it needs to go to the lavatory, and my feet hurt. Apart from that, I'm fine. St. Anthony. This is the one, what I said to you the other day, if I win the lottery when I was up in the church tower, I will make them an offer, hopefully that they wouldn't be able to refute. Elliot Patent Company, Hastings, paving stones. Oh, I thought it was someone who'd lived there or something like that. I did this street before. There's a lovely view at the end of it. But we may do that again. We'll see. So where our journey takes us. It's almost possible, particularly for a man that loves history and with a slightly active imagination like myself, to close your eyes and imagine the horses running up and down the cobbles, hobnail boots, possibly being stabbed in Mermaid Street and having your purse stolen. Aye, lad, don't go near there. They'll end up with a cut throat and an empty purse, I tell thee. But it isn't like that now. We've got the knife crime in London. Maybe they moved. Maybe they moved from Rye to London. But anyone that thinks merry old England that was all lovely and jolly, no. Particularly in places like this, the fishermen and the sometimes the sea wives were just as bad. They had foul mouths on them. The sea wives and the sea widows, really foul. A lot of them had a clay pipe hanging out their mouth, and if you got on the wrong side of them, you'd soon know about it. Church Square. These houses here are known as the plague houses because, like everywhere in England and the world, or many parts of the world, in 1665 Rye was ravaged by the plague, and this particular house that we're looking right at in the centre now, a whole family of 12 were locked into this house because they had the plague. Red cross painted on the door with the words of the Lord, "May the Lord have mercy." And out of all those 12 people, which included a family and 3 servants, only the 8-year-old boy survived. That 8-year-old boy would have had to stay locked in that house and watch every one of them die. Then you had, when you was locked in your house, you had a watchman. The watchman, this street had 2, and they would march up and down and make sure that no one broke out. But that happened in London, and what some people did, because we had grenades in those days, believe it or not, people would lean out the windows from both sides and distract the watchman, and someone would throw a grenade wrapped in cloth, and that happened a couple of times in London. Definitely one recorded account of that, but there's rumours of it happening a few times, because most of the watchmen were old men. And yeah, anyway, back to where we were. The whole family died, and the 8-year-old boy, the body had to inform the watchman of every death, and the body had to be brought out. And once the body's brought out for 40 days afterwards, that boy, they were given food and water and things like that. They weren't just abandoned in there. But for 40 days afterwards, that boy had to stay in that house to ensure that he didn't have the plague. When they ensured that he didn't have the plague, the vicar and his wife adopted him. And the only reason he was kept alive was by the kindness of his fellow townsmen and women, but most particularly the kindness of the vicar and his wife. Because from what the church warden who works in the church now told me, this was some years ago, told me the story, the vicar and the master of this house were brothers. So this was the vicar's nephew. Whether that is true or not, she did say this to me, whether that's true or not, we don't know. So it could just be, oh look, Sussex County Police, 1891. This is the old police house. The new police headquarters are different, are not there now, basically, somewhere else. Anyway, guys and girls, this is Church Square. I hope you all enjoyed this little one. It's not a long video. A little bit of history as well there for you. The churchyard level of the ground comes up to here, by the way. So yeah, when you're inside there, you can look over the ones. Basically that was because of the plague as well. So many buried in the churchyard. They didn't have plague pits in Rye. It was a very small town. A lot of people packed into a cliffy, hilly area. They dug as many pits of a description in the churchyard as they could, as deep as they could, and buried all the people that died. And when the plague was over, the churchyard had to be covered. Most churchyards were given an order to cover themselves in a foot or two of good earth. I'll leave it up to your imagination why they had to be covered, because it wasn't nice. Yeah, and the plague bodies that were in there were very near the surface. There's stories in London of some of the London plague pits of hands sticking out. Anyway, guys and girls, hope you all found that interesting. A bit gory, but there we are. Take care all. See you all soon.